Hello, and how are we today? It's the last day of September, and the leaves begin to turn. All thoughts turn to autumn, and we have a full Bravo lineup, a full binder, if you will, and even if you won't. However, we have to talk about the failure. We have to talk about the elephant in the room. We have to talk about the disappointment. We have to talk about 4 months of lackluster plot lines, 4 months of uninteresting characters, 4 months of piss poor production, 4 months of shitty ratings, 4 months, 4 months, and I am tired. Dubai didn't help at all. I mean, Dubai gave us series lows in its second season. Your heifers don't need to come back. New Jersey wasn't even worth a reunion. You heifers ain't coming back. Summer's House, Martha's Vineyard, fired because you was tired. And we were looking forward to you. Now, I think this one shows Bravo needs another 2 strong Black shows. 2 strong Black shows, because right now, Black Bravo, the only thing holding it up is Married to Medical. That's the only thing holding it up. Atlanta is on the ropes. Potomac, we've got our good eye on you because your last season wasn't anything to write home about.
Mm-mm.
And I think that we have made a slight mistake conflating the failure of reality TV with Bravo's lack of vision. I think we've conflated the failure of reality TV with Carlos King's piss poor performance, because we see Salt Lake City, both Hulu and Bravo, is bringing it. It's delivering like dominoes. I think that the producers and the networks are getting hazy and lazy. I think that we're not seeing innovation. I think that we're not seeing effort. I think that when you let Kenya Moore rest on her laurels, maybe it's not Kenya that should be fired. Maybe it's you, producers. Maybe it's you. Let's look at the numbers. Real Housewives of New Jersey, well, it dropped 100,000 viewers from the high 8s to the low 7s. Dubai, we could count to 2 because that's how many people were watching. Me and you, 1, 2.
What? Not me, but yes.
Somebody's mama was tuned in then.
Yeah, Dubai didn't for me.
And Summer's House, Martha's Vineyard, these numbers look like a successful YouTuber.
Oh boy.
A successful YouTuber. I have video. If I have a video that's higher than your weekly average, and you're on cable, that's pathetic. That's pathetic. And now we know that there are some after views on Peacock, but clearly not enough to keep these shows interesting or on the air. The only success, and an unlikely success at that I feel we got out of Bravo this summer, was The Valley. What are your thoughts?
Well, first of all of this, bravo. What an excellent summation of a desolate summer. Honestly.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You gotta give credit where credit is due. I agree. The Valley was a bright spot uh, I we were talking about how it was a dead summer, and there were shows that aired, but they just did so poorly that we literally felt like we weren't getting anything this summer. I mean, this whole discussion came out of you and I kind of complaining about the same thing, is that there's literally going to basically be an overlap of like 4 of the Housewives franchises there for a minute. We
Yeah,
could have done we could have done with one of these heifers during the summer.
175%. Because we were going over it. We're going Potomac premieres when?
October 6th.
Oh my God. So we have Salt Lake just premiered. Just
It did.
premiered. We have
2 episodes in.
2 episodes in. We have our Housewives of OC. We're getting episode 13 this week. So we're going to have at least 14, 15, and then a 3-part reunion, if not more than 15 episodes, because you never know what they'll pull.
Yeah.
So that means we're going to have another 6 weeks minimum of OC. So that's like 2 months. We're then going to, so that's going to be Salt Lake. So Salt Lake Tuesday, OC Wednesday, Housewives of New York Tuesday, and then Potomac on Sundays.
And I mean, like I said, I could have used some of this over the summer because it was bleak. It was a cruel summer, to quote the
Banana
Karate
Grandma.
Kid. Thank you. I'm all for those of you that remember.
It's a cruel summer. Bravo left us with nothing but reruns of cruel summer.
Yes. We need a shirt, Alex.
This was the cruelest Bravo summer ever. And I mean, it also feels like it was a summer that felt like a ship graveyard, where it's like everything came here to die. I think I'll also say, I believe that Bravo is strategic. I think that they had people checking how many people are traveling this summer. And they saw a lot more people were traveling because it's still like a lot of people are like, okay, the panty's finally over. Let me go visit, grandmama or whatnot. Or I've been meaning to take this trip. Weddings are back on. So they said, okay, ain't nobody going to be home this summer. So let's put on all the shows that weren't going to do well anyway, so we don't lose ratings on a good property.
Yeah, and I think they also they had some unexpected occurrences happen, right? Like they weren't expecting Jersey to wash up on a beach like a body that got popped out of a trunk. Do you know what I mean? Where there was no reunion even. So there would have been a couple of weeks of reverb with New Jersey if we had had a traditional season.
I also think with Atlanta,
yes,
and Kenya, being
they're
put
off
on
schedule.
exactly being put on pause or fired, whatever, that she's not going to be on this season, and that seemed to push Housewives of Atlanta back.
Yeah. I don't know what their plan for Atlanta was, but also think about it too. Girls Trip got snatched away from us.
Oh God. Something
I didn't think of that either.
That would have been like the jewel of the summer.
A delight.
Exactly. A delight. And they're usually like 6 episodes, maybe 8.
Mm-hmm.
If they could have given us 8 episodes of that would have been like halfway through June, all of July, halfway through August. That would have been the kiss of the summer.
Yeah, and like they were all saying, I mean, they all say this, but they were like, everybody is really upset because Morocco was supposedly really good. Like not that Crone Gumbelson can save anything, but she was there with something to prove, so she was ready to play. You know what I mean? Like, she wasn't
Mhm.
sick, sad Vicky. She was actually in it. And we had Gretchen. I mean, we had some folks we needed. We had Alex McCord. I needed to see that wacky woman. What happened to her?
Yeah, and her husband.
Oh no. Oh no. You could leave Simon at home. That's okay.
Rich Auntie, what are your thoughts?
It's Asia. I wanted to have a rich auntie summer. I thought I was gonna be relaxing, watching these women act a fool while I lay back in the house in my AC, drinking my Arnold Palmer's spiked if I please. And child, that is not what I had. So I'm hoping I manifested this fall because, like you guys said, this summer it was a quarter. Okay, Q2 was terrible.
I mean, Bravo really just gave us a bunch of duds.
But you know what I think?
I oh wait, hold on. Chris said, and Housewives of Beverly Hills, and after Salt Lake City, Beverly Hills will take their place.
I hope so, Chris. I am hopeful. I am looking forward to Chris's reviews. I am looking forward to Chris's reviews. For me, Chris's top reviews are the Housewives reviews. Those are the ones that I love, and the imitations. And he's getting his throat box warmed up to me imitating Meredith, and I am ready. Okay, I'm ready.
Well, I'm prepared to engage and I'm
Yes,
prepared to disengage. I'm prepared.
yes.
Because I'm not going to be disrespected. You are not going to talk about my family. And I came out with Bath Moms. I don't know why you're coming out with Bath Mom. Also, it's like, girl, all the housewives get into the same businesses. You sell some wine. What's the other one? Wine, makeup, podcast.
Candles,
What?
skincare,
Yeah. Oh God, skincare.
candles.
Oh, and
Like
Candace.
quick,
That's right.
yeah,
And
like products with quick turnaround. But this is what I will say. I'm gonna give Meredith grace, and the only reason why I'm gonna give Meredith grace is because the past two seasons, like Meredith has gone through it from the cheating husband scandals and the swinger scandals to the the harlot of New York's spraying and just a lot. Then her dad passed away, and like for me personally, okay, I would have been highly, highly offended when that whole situation went down where they alluded and accused her of faking her dad's I think a repass or something like that. It's just like and so I think she's like, I still want to be on the show and I'm gonna just be petty. And she's giving us what Pink Toes would think of as petty beef. You stole my idea. Because essentially her thing is you're copying everything that I'm doing. That's basically what her thing is. Stop looking over here and stay on your own front porch. And I think Meredith and her unseasoned baked chicken self, I think she's giving us exactly what she thinks, is petty drama, which is this girl is obsessed with my life.
oh, also Nicole M. I do feel like there was a little bit of a strategy there by Bravo to get us to, and by us I mean us, to get us to
Oh,
watch Below Deck, OC. Oh, now I gotta say, OC is low key a sleeper hit.
It
It's
is.
been good for the past couple of seasons. Like there's a reason them heifers are still around. But I do think it was a way to be like, we're gonna push these properties and try to get people that wouldn't normally watch them to watch them. Because remember when, and that's why I have the little thumbnail that I do. Remember when there was Summers by Bravo, and they get all the Bravo celebrities together, and they would do fake Olympics, or they'd have a barbecue. Like it was,
mm-hmm.
Bravo was all about the
So
summer.
cute.
That's when they would put out their flagships and their new shows.
Yep.
But all the other networks like took a break during the summer.
We
I
did have
think
Summer House this summer, I will say, and I know you don't watch that, Alex, but like that one was another one that was it was excellent television just for the fact that there were two people that were engaged and broke up on the show. Like, I had stopped watching Summer House because I thought it to be boring. So I will give them that. But that wasn't enough for sustainment as far as that goes for the summer.
So there was Summer House. What I enjoyed was the Valley. The Valley
Yes.
was the only thing where I was like, oh, wow, this, they came out the gate swinging, they delivered like
Yes.
dominoes. And I have to say, I wish Hulu had come out with their Mormon Wives show during the summer because Hulu, somebody asked me, what's the difference between Housewives of Atlanta and
The Housewives of Salt Lake
Mormon
City.
Wives on Hulu? And I would say youth.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And not youth in an ageist way, youth in a these women have a different set of problems in their 20s and 30s. Like, and honestly, I don't even think any of them are 30 yet. I think the oldest are 29. So at 29, as a young wife and a young mother, you have a different set of problems than a woman in her 40s, with kids that are, leaving the nest. And, she's got a business. She's, just in a different space in her life. So it's cool because it's a different set of problems. So it doesn't feel like a copycat. And also, like, we can grow with these women and watch them go on their journey.
It's like Laguna Beach versus the Hills. It's like the stage of the place and time they're at in their lives. The Real Housewives of Salt Lake City have about, on average, 20 years on these ladies. So we'll see where they all lead in 30 years. But they also have had, I think the reason we find this so fascinating is because all of the modern technology really is at war with Mormon values.
Yeah, there's that. And then also, like, the women on Salt Lake Housewives, they didn't grow up with technology. The
They did
girls
not.
on Hulu Salt Lake, they are on the show because of Mom Talk.
Mm-hmm.
So that, like, to the technology point, it definitely is like you have the Real Housewives, which are like like kind of the last reality stars that are like cable stars. Now all of the reality stars, you're going to have some type of, social media following, so that way we know you've got an audience.
Right. I wanted to sneak in real quick. First of all, how y'all doing?
Good.
Hello.
Hi.
Good. Well, I called in real quick because I love this topic, Alice. I love this topic. Love it. Love it. I was watching and I was doing something. I said, let me call in real quick. You know what I think too? I think that based on this topic, Bravo's worst summer with the ratings. I feel like, first off, I don't feel like Bravo is keeping up with the times because we are in such explosive times in the real world with the Diddy's and the Trumps there's a lot going on. So when you watch these shows and people are faking storylines and being shocked. Like, how many times as for me as a viewer, I ask myself, that's why I haven't watched it. I can see these women or the characters of all the shows sit at the table and talk about some other cast members and then go to the end of the show and they all have an explosive thing. It's the same thing every episode. It's a rhythm to it that becomes very tedious and very tiresome. Also, for me, I feel like that, we've seen everything that we could see on these shows. For me, if they go back to the basics and they go back to real relationships, and talking about they extended family, about their moms and dads and cousins, stuff like that, just bringing in more realism and not just always
like when Nene was looking for a pappy.
when Kim was looking for her mom or what, just real stuff, not just oh, let's expose each other and take each other down and who's cheating. I think for me that's like the extra seasoning. If you come into the show and you show up there and you be real, the viewers will be more connected. But if you're always just trying to, get a gotcha moment and be shocking or whatever, they've done that for over 15 years. It becomes very, very just one note. So for me, I kind of disengage because on top of it, it's like sometimes I do feel guilty watching it because I feel so annoyed. I don't like the characters. I don't like the people as much. A lot of people don't seem as likable. Like the ones I love, either they left the show or they leaving the show. So for me as a viewer, because I watched Bravo for a long time, that has been my struggle for the past couple of months. I have not engaged with. I've been more watching different movies and things like that because I've got so tired of the formula. And I've also been riveted to the drama in the real world, with the Middle East and with the election and with the Diddy thing. I've not been sit around and see people, just doing nothing and faking storylines. It's just not been my thing this year.
Yeah,
Or
I hear
making
you. I think that Salt Lake City, I think going back to, I think it was what Alex was saying about them not, being, from not growing up with like technology and not being as, like they're just, their whole view on the world and how they show up is different because of they didn't grow up with like technology. I think that also gives a little bit of authenticity to it as well. Because even though I'm sure they all say that they never watched the show, which I never believe, I do believe that they understand that there's a sense to show, but at the same time, I think their thought process on how they handle their image and how they maneuver around that, I feel like it comes up a little bit more more genuine. I do believe that these women are truly like who they are, like Lisa. She said, I'm 40 something years old. I yell, I am who I am. This is me, take it or leave it.
I have,
um
well, I was going to say I have one note about Salt Lake because I've got into it because of Monica. Monica brought me in. I watched it here and there, but when the internet broke, literally to the person who don't watch Bravo religiously, I said, "What is going on? Who did what?" So I went over there and I stayed and I watched it for Monica. I feel like when I watched the premiere this year, I felt like, and it just could be my own thoughts because I don't know the ladies. I felt like they were doing so much. It just seemed like the emotions were so big. But I will say the chemistry is on point. I love the chemistry there, and also I like the way they work together. I don't always also believe their storylines as much, but I like the way they work together. I love the chemistry they have. I think they may have to grow on me a little more because that's just not one of my favorite franchises. But those are the things I give to them that they are better at. Their chemistry is on point and they work together because I go in with low expectations of them. Like they can't really entertain me. They can't. But then Mary may give us anger, and then other ladies might be a little weird. And there are certain moments as a viewer who watched for 15 years, I know that certain moments are very real. Now, they also have ingredients where they're being fake, and they're doing the same thing the other ladies do in other franchises. But they give me more real moments on that show. The chemistry is good, and they do work very hard. So I like
I
that.
I have a theory about this. I think that Salt Lake is in its sweet spot, and it's because it takes a good 2 seasons to get to know and find a fuck. At season 3, we should have found our fuck and really developing our core 4, our core 5. We've done that, and especially like with when like having like the girls kind of having like a common enemy for 2 seasons in Jen Shaw and then in Monica, something that like really bonded them together. They put all their petty bullshit aside because they really have a bigger fish to fry. But I feel like this and the next season will be their penultimate. Then you need to take 2 ladies out so they can be on pause. Give them 2 years off so that they have something to talk about when they come back. I feel like why Atlanta is in the toilet now is because they didn't crop rotate. They just
Mhm.
kept plowing up the same ground until the ladies had nothing left to talk about, until we had seen them shit. It's like
Ooh.
we've seen you do everything to where there's nothing more interesting left for you to do. You got to go away for 2 years. Like if Candy had gone away for 2 years and then came back producing Broadway shows, it's like, oh
mhm,
wow, what a
mhm.
Absolutely.
journey.
Very good.
That's
Yeah. You
new.
can't, that's a good point because Candy is a controversial character. And the thing is, on the show, she's not very compelling, can be very boring. But the woman has a lot going on. And also a lot of things that goes on are not always PC, not always politically correct. They're very juicy things that she has not allowed producers to really go into more detail about. I think at one time, a couple of seasons ago, they said, "Oh, you had this lawsuit, whatever," and she said, "Nope, we're not going to talk about that." She shut it down. Where her 10 million followers, 11 million followers, she has the power to really stop things going on. She's friends with people in Atlanta who have very shady or problematic lawsuits or just some things going on, and so she has an interesting life, but we never see it on the screen. So that's the part I struggle with her. It's like, okay, you're not boring, but you're being very safe on the
Yes,
show.
I think also she's like, I am not going to let Bravo mess up all my other avenues of money
Okay, yeah.
to do that, because I will also say I remember back in the day when she was
Hmm.
like, we have to also remember she's boring now because I feel like she feels like she gave everything that she, because she even exposed her mama one time for her mama's
Right.
gambling issue when her
Oh
mama was
Lord.
sitting up there talking about all that trash and alluding to her possibly giving Todd money, and then finally she's like, but when I be giving you money for gambling, and she be ordering on the
Mhm.
QVC channel, then she was I mean she and then it was Mama Joyce. I think she got tired of everybody dragging her mama through through the streets. And so but I definitely agree with Alex with they would have like let people take a break and then come back and rotated them. I
Mhm.
definitely feel like, because that's what they're basically doing now. That's what they're basically doing now, but they're doing it with the wrong people, because quiet as it's kept. Like Cynthia, she's friends with a whole bunch of these housewives lady, but she ain't doing nothing but sipping tea and relaxing on Lake Bailey. I
Right.
think, you
No,
know what I mean? I
she
think
she's playing a nurse in Sissy Smalley's new movie.
so. Like I said, and I wouldn't even and I ain't checking for that. And so I just feel like Alex had something going there when he said, I mean, even with Mary Crosby, like I wonder if they're gonna bring up, her son and all the pictures that he was taking online, and then do a flashback about how she's driving by 7-Eleven and she sees a gaggle of black dudes out front. She's gonna roll her window up and keep driving. Yes, she said that. So,
Pepperidge
you know,
Farm remembers.
but at the same time, I will also say this. I feel like when you talked about some of those juicy topics and things like that, I feel like they didn't do the work to figure out how to handle touchy topics without constantly having lawsuits. And
Okay.
and another reason why
Mm.
I feel like especially the black shows aren't surviving is because one, they're not putting in they're not doing, well, who is their R&D team? Because are they even doing an R&D team? Because it's terrible. Because if you had an R&D team, and I'm sorry, when they did Summer House, Martha's
Martha's
Vineyard, one
Vineyard.
of the questions that I think it was Rodney, because Rodney's from he's from Texas or whatever, and he's like, he didn't understand why I think I think he was like, he was comparing it to the other one where like the people will leave and then come back for the weekend. And so it's not like they're in the house. You can't do that I mean, you can, but that's too extraneous to do that, because Martha's Vineyard is an island and it's far out, and these people all are from New York. So it just wouldn't be feasible to be going from New York to be going all the way to an island off the Cape only for 48 hours. But with that being said, it's like, why would they do that at the very last end of August? They need to do it at the end of July, the first 2 weeks in August. That's when all the HBCU alums are there. All of the celebrities are there. The celebrities' kids are there. I was seeing married to medical kids all up in Martha's Vineyard over the summer, waiting in the line for my donut at 12 something in the morning. Like, I don't know why they're not showing that. And like showing them on the island and getting into things. I feel like it shouldn't always just be like in the house and then just giving them liquor. Like, this isn't Bad
Yeah,
Girls
you know
Club.
what? Oh my God, I had to drop down, but that point is it's in my heart. You know what I think? You made a good point. I think it's about money. I really do. You made such
Yes,
a good point
they did
because
not want to pay shit to produce this show.
right.
They got them the house, and that was
So
the
So
budge.
I mean, we've seen that at the last season, I believe the last season of Potomac, when viewers were just totally like bewildered, like how are these women, for the most part, sitting in Texas, these beautiful goddesses of women, they don't treat them well when it comes to their trips. So when it comes to the black shows, in my opinion, the money is not put in there. I mean, Meredith Medicine, Potomac, Atlanta, you just said Martha Vineyard, they don't Bravo don't pour enough money into those shows. That what you described, I don't know. Let's see the person's name. What you described would have been beautiful to see. Oh, okay, Rich. What you described would have been beautiful to see. And I feel it's so sad that when it comes to our shows, to the black, brown, beautiful shows, they don't give us opportunity to show in a beautiful way and to film us in a beautiful way. And also to produce more beautiful events and just all the stuff that goes on. Again, these women, these characters, and all these guys are not boring, but they choose to just sort of pigeonhole people, these little cheap little trips and like you said, film them. I mean, if they wanted to spend money, they should have had them there for like 2 weeks straight, sitting there. That would have been like a bonkers show. It'd have been off the chain. It would have been like Surreal Life back in the day. It would have gave you a lot more. Put them in the hot season and beautifully filmed, but that costs more money. You got to pay people salaries and all that kind of stuff. But
They
they
got it.
should,
They just being cheap.
there we go. They should spend much more money. So that was a good idea. Yeah, with our shows, they don't spend the money. They don't really invest the money. But now with
No
the
R
Beverly
and
Hills,
D, because the first season of Potomac, when that whole um race conversation was coming up and things like that, that's when you get the proper team around you, so that you can be like, okay, something's going on. Or even if they missed the mark on season one, right? Once Candace called it out, and once the audience, they ignored the audience. And I feel like they ignored the audience because they allowed certain producers to have a
mm,
bad taste in their mouth, and to the detriment of the show. Because I wholeheartedly feel like, had the producers listened to their audience, they wouldn't be in the situation that they are now. Because quiet as it's kept, as much hate as I would see for Candace on the show, now that she's not on the show, all I'm seeing in the comments is, it's not the same without Candace. It's not the same without Candace. And so, and she's polarizing. Either you love her or you don't. You love
right.
her or you don't. You also need those type of characters as well. But I feel like you should also protect certain characters. You should protect those people who are watching it, either to hate on Candace or to love Candace, to hate on Giselle or to love Giselle. And then everyone else, honestly, is kind of like, you could take or leave. And then,
Hmm.
Karen is that solid neutral. But I feel
Or
like,
like the cheap trip they took to go see Kenya during her performance last season.
and she
Like
didn't even end
for
up being
real.
even
But
performing.
but then
Mm,
with the trips
mhm.
on Beverly Hills,
Come
they're
on
going
now.
to Portugal, they go to
Hello.
Japan, they go to Amsterdam, they're
Really?
staying in fabulous presidential suites,
Yeah.
and Bravo pays for the trips.
Right, and this is
So
and
we
this is and they and people hated Nene, and they say, "Oh well, she," and also my queen, my lovely queen, Miss Mariah Huff, the original over there, Marilyn Manson. I love her very much. So I used to talk to her on Facebook. Fabulous lady, but they were the whistleblowers saying, "Listen, they're not spending money on our shows like they supposed to. These shows need to be, more money spent into them." Um, it's just one of those things. It really is, and that maybe it's the reason why I'm not watching because I'm tired of just the people who look like me or look like my sisters or whatever. They be sort of pigeonhole
They
these.
want black shows to be workhorses and not show ponies.
Thank
And
you,
I
Miss.
and
Yeah,
that's and
mhm,
that's the
yeah,
problem. The
yeah,
white shows are the show ponies. They still have to put in the work, but
yeah.
they get the privilege of being
Hmm.
able to be gussied up and shined up and appealing. Where with
That's
the
right.
black shows, it's like they said, it's cheap. The bar is low, and they want workhorses.
You know what I was gonna say. And I'm drop down. You miss everybody. Y'all speaking to my heart because and this is off the topic. I love Brandy. That's one of my queens. Love her, but she was on UPN at one point, and then I also love Girlfriends. Love Tracy Ellis Ross, I believe her name is. She's Diana
Hmm.
Ross's daughter. But there was some documentaries that said that those networks were built on the backs of black women because the
Yes.
audience would go there and build those audiences, but then they
Hmm.
wouldn't treat those shows very well. Now,
Hmm.
Bravo was built on the back of Nene, Mariah, and other people, these
Sure
wonderful queens,
was.
where we had $8 million, 8 million viewers at one time sending these shows, and the girls in Beverly Hills weren't getting those numbers.
Because
But it's
OC was the first one, and then Atlanta came
that's
and
right.
was and just did and turned the world upside down because ain't nobody was watching OC before Atlanta.
Right. And so I think that what happened is when there was I mean they didn't treat them well for them to build the network the way Nene and other people like people look like us did. And for those shows now Atlanta should have been put on the pedestal. They should be like, okay, this is the show that brought us in millions and millions and millions of dollars. There's no way in the world we should have let Nene lead this show. There's no way in the world we shouldn't pay these people these salaries because when these girls work and when we pay them and respect them for what they have contributed to this to Bravo. This brings in beyond. I feel like The women are dynamic, they're beautiful, and they just are produced badly. They are sent to ugly locations, they are filmed in ugly ways, and it makes it hard to watch. But they are still beautiful. If you fix those problems, the audience would be bananas again. But it's just one of those things that they just don't
This
respect.
reminds me of when Taraji went up there and was talking about
Oh
how
yeah,
she was on The Color Purple, and they
yeah,
were telling them, having them try to drive themselves to set. And so and then after she exposed it, that's when Oprah wants to swoop in and try to tidy everything up and make everything clear. So that also shows that a precedent has been set, and so
yeah.
people have to continue to speak up, because if Oprah in 2023 or 2022, whenever that movie was filmed, allowed for those things to be happening to people whose half of her career is built on championing, I would not expect Bravo to try to do better.
That's right. Well, on that note, I'm going to drop down. I just had to sneak in real quick, but this has been wonderful. Thank you, Alex, and to the ladies, just wonderful. Hope you have a wonderful day. Stay safe, and I will be, checking in soon.
Oh,
You
Dr.
too. Have a great day.
All right.
Bye.
Okay.
Thank you so much for joining us. I completely agree that we need to see a lot more money invested into these trips because we see it on the other shows.
Hmm.
And I think also we need to see much more R&D in casting. To your
Hmm.
point, Asia, because the cast of Martha's Vineyard, it makes me feel like it was built to fail. That was not like it was very. There was no cohesion. There was no authenticity. It
You
was
know
very
why there
much.
was no? Yeah, I totally agree. And you know why there was no authenticity as well? Because there were people in that room who were not operating in the same tax brackets. Like when Bria's boyfriend showed up spending all that money or whatever, he's a bill. I didn't realize. Maybe I just wasn't paying attention. He's a billionaire. She lives over there in Germany. He bought her a souped up Range Rover or Land Rover or whatever for a Valentine's Day gift, not even a birthday or anniversary, a Valentine's Day gift.
Oh, I
Like,
didn't realize that. I would have put up with any other costume he wanted to put on. Shit,
listen,
that
but
would
what
have
I'm
been
but
that's
right, but
fine.
so when I found when I because I went and looked her I went to look her up because she popped up on something else. And I said, what, let me see what this girl is about, because she came off as like a spoiled brat. But then when I got a glimpse that she a little bit, I went on her TikTok, and excuse me, Simon had a very interesting has a little interesting story too. He has I think he has cerebral palsy, or he has something, and he was talking about how he was seeing like black spots, and like he wasn't able to like walk steady and things like that. Some type of like neurological disease. I just can't think of the name. And so, and I guess that kind of after he was able to beat that, he really got in on his health. He lost weight. He would run. He said he would be running and he wouldn't even be able to see everywhere where he was going, but he just knew that he had to run. He became a runner, and it totally changed his health. And he has just a whole nother lease on life. So now he's with this beautiful, because Bria's beautiful, and when she puts it on, she puts it on. This beautiful dark chocolate black girl, and she's over there in Germany, going to all these fancy places. He took her to this restaurant where Sophia Richie got married at, that fancy schmancy restaurant over there in France. Took her there to eat over there. That's why they don't understand Bria and the way that she operates and why she is the way that she is, and things like that. And I just wonder how it would be a different I feel like it would be a different vibe if there were people, like I said, who were allowed to show up in certain tax brackets, whether it's by their own money or by proximity of their partner. Because these other girls are still hustling in New York City, and having to do things and deal with things that she doesn't have to deal with.
I mean, that is. I think they should have picked people that had more money. If that's another, I think that's another problem.
Uh,
That
That's
you
what I'm
can't
saying.
have a show set in a place as expensive as Martha's Vineyard. And I think this also goes to the show not really wanting to pay for anything. Also, I would say too, it could have been a matter of how many places can you get to clear that will let you film there, because rich places don't always want filming to happen, or they may set like a high price for you to film there. Like, I could see Martha's Vineyard being like, and we're not the Hamptons. We don't really play that. And so maybe some of the cool places that they could have filmed, the city was like, nah, we're not going to give you a permit.
I mean, I could see that too, but when I was saying people, I mean like the whole core people, right? They all worked at the Playboy Mansion together or whatever, and so, but the only one who seemed to have a rich man was Bria, cause Silas ain't rich. He might make six figures, but he ain't a billionaire. And then the other one, she's single, and so if there is the single friend, but is it like, does Bria not have the single rich friend? Does Bria not have? And that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm agreeing with what you're saying. There should have been more people with money as well, because I just feel like, or everyone should have been on the same kind of like level. And I know this sounds terrible, but it kind of reminds me of, remember when Monica came in on Salt Lake City and she was sitting so mad at Lisa when Lisa was complaining about her ring and all this other stuff. And it's like, but she makes money. So her talking about her ring and how much it costs, whether how pretentious it come off or not, like that's her reality. And you're feeling insecure and projecting and getting angry about it. It's kind of messing up the dynamic, because they're all rich, they all have money, they have expensive things, they have expensive tastes. So that was just my thing. I feel like it would also give a different kind of like allure. I'm so tired of seeing like the regular, like what you were saying, Alex. Potomac, everything is attainable. Like Candace is only riding around in a Lexus. Like my aunt has the same car that she has.
Right. It's like we want to see that next level of wealth. We want to see like, oh, this is bougie.
Right.
And especially when it's a show like, you can't have and Bravo kind of has painted themselves into a corner with this, because let's remember how Bravo started. It was Real Housewives, where they were housewives. So like, okay, we're making enough money where I don't have to work, but like I get to shop and buy. But they weren't all rich. Like, you know,
Right.
there were always some richer than others, but then the show turned them rich.
Right. A lot of
And
them were like
so,
upper middle class,
yeah, they went
the
from
white
upper
ones.
middle class to truly wealthy, to have
Right.
money, to
Or
having enough money where you can spend and still invest, and your money is working hard for you.
Well,
Um,
I think we've also hit an era where it's gotten past where the affluent are attracted to this kind of celebrity attention, because it's now gotten to the point where there's an economy in digging up every skeleton you may have ever danced with.
that's
yes.
So
true, but you'll be surprised. There's still. I mean, look how Simon was thirsty to be like to be on the show. I definitely agree, but there's still a good enough demographic that want to be seen, hun.
I don't necessarily. I don't necessarily agree with you. I think that
That's
we're
fine.
looking at a lot of people in this, especially in the demographic you're talking about,
Mhm.
young, want to be seen, want to be, because six figures in New York is
Well,
just working class, right?
Mhm.
yeah. You know, I
And
feel like I would say this. I think both of you are right in a sense. I think there are some wealthy people that, like Candy, look at it as a place to promote their business. I think there are
Mhm.
also other wealthy people, and I would say that's when you're getting to the more extreme wealthy, they're like,
Mhm.
I'm too rich to be known.
Mhm.
I'm too
Mhm.
rich. Like that when you're that rich, there's a level of they're flying under the radar. They've got a mansion in the city that you don't even know about because it looks like a
Mhm.
regular house from the outside. So
Mhm.
I think that there's a level where both can be true, but also like where it's like I can see the super rich not wanting to expose themselves, and then people being like, "Oh, you could pay me this much, you could pay me that much." Like then people really finding out, like to Aaron's point, the digging up of skeletons and the telling of business. But there's also a lot of people that see like you can't pay for that kind of advertising.
Right. I think that there has to be like, and I think with Bravo, they have to find that perfect middle ground because it, again, it also goes back to what Heather was saying when she was like, part of part of the problem is the way you guys produce the show. It detracts from the type of people that you want casted on the show, because then when you pull things like this, like the whole Monica thing, that's definitely not going to incentivize people who are even considering it to get on there, because like, and the fact that she knows this because she's having conversations with these people, like, and so these conversations are clearly being had where it's like, I would consider it if they didn't do this, that, and the third. And so, I think like, so I feel like that's what it is across the board. But specifically with black people and like black rich people, I do think, to what Aaron is saying, I agree that there's going to be some that don't want to deal with the magnifying glass. But I do feel like there are some, like young millionaires that probably would be willing to go on the show if they had the opportunity. But they're also not going to go on to the show with somebody like Silas and his and Brittany or whatever her name was. I don't remember his wife's name, which is awful.
Jasmine?
Jasmine.
Well, I think that, Alex, back to what you were talking about, The Valley was a hit, right? You want to know, in my opinion, why? Because it was an excellent, excellent representation of working middle class, like upper middle class folks in LA that are entertainment
Ah,
adjacent. So, what
Mm.
I think the reason Martha's Vineyard missed is that what we need is a valley over on the East Coast, maybe, or in Atlanta, or where we need a working class kind of upwardly mobile, successful group that are in maybe the same like family era or whatever, like how we like Married to Medicine, where they're all within medicine. We don't expect them to be like super duper duper rich, where we all like to make fun of Toya and Eugene's money problems, right?
Mhm.
So it
Mhm.
still can be in a demographic that shows a certain level. But I think we as an audience need to get over that every franchise has uber wealth, because, we need a little bit more of a diaspora, maybe, because I just don't think there's enough legitimately uber wealthy to go around to sustain these shows. I think we
Yeah.
need to
Well,
look
it's
at
not
a
necessarily about
crossbreed of
Uber.
lifestyle.
Well, not even just uber wealthy. I mean, just like that's what I was saying with Martha's Vineyard. Like these people were like
they
at
were
one point,
poor.
one of the girls was said that she was living in her car.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
and
They
so
were
what I'm
like,
saying is like for black people, there is an understanding that like that the pinnacle of black wealth looks like Potomac, and that's Potomac now, not even Potomac first season, right? Because you could tell Giselle was broke, she was faking it. The only one who really came from money um on that show was Candace, because her parents had money, and then Ashley because she was married to a billionaire, and that's why they had that dynamic there, or almost a billionaire, a multi-millionaire. And so what I'm saying is like for Martha's Vineyard, like Martha's Vineyard and like Sag Harbor, those have the reputation for the black for the black people who would probably be on Housewives of Beverly Hills. That's where they vacation at. Because Potomac and Atlanta, like there is no black Beverly Hills. Who is black Beverly Hills?
they say Atlanta is.
It's not. It doesn't even look like it. None of them look like it. And like the richest one is Candy, and she's frugal. And then Nene was on there when she bought her house, which was beautiful, and that was great, and that was a moment, and then it passed. But like when it comes, but there, and even then, that's not Beverly Hills rich. But there are black, just like um oh gosh, I'm terrible with names. What is the black girl's name? Beverly Hills.
Garcelle.
Garcelle. Cause I was trying. I knew it was in Giselle. Garcelle, she even said it. She was like, there are black ladies who live in Beverly Hills. When they showed her girlfriends, and like I knew who her girlfriends were. I don't know if all the other viewers knew who they were until the names started dropping, but I recognized Will Smith's first wife. And then I think there was one more. I can't remember her name, but she's an actress. Um, Yeah, but that representation specifically for the niche of black people is what I'm saying, is not there. And so another thing is, we're like, speaking personally, I'm tired of seeing the same kind of demographic where it's like, middle class or working class black folk, fussing over the same shit, or and like pump faking it. Like, I want to see people who's like, really in their bag and and dipping and doing it, or girls who got their man who and they in their man's bag and they dipping and doing that. And that's rarely seen and shown. It's really seen and shown.
True.
And not off the back of being 3 seasons in, because like a lot of the shows aren't even making it that far. Even the
Monique
doc.
had money.
Yes, Monique had money. She did. Monique had money.
She had 4 homes,
She had
And
4 homes.
didn't Charisse have money?
but she never looked like it. But
No, it
she
still
never
doesn't.
looked
But
like it.
I. But I mean,
So then, does it count when you still look like a frump?
Does it count when you're frumpy? And then was it count when it's like only because Monique wasn't on the same season as Charisse? So does it count when you're
I
one?
thought they were.
No, they like by the time from my recollection, by the time Monique, or if she did, they might
No,
have been together
Monique
one
and Charisse
season.
had a falling out. Monique and Charisse had
Yeah,
a big
they
falling
did.
out
That's right.
because Charisse felt like Monique was using her for her charity connections.
That's right. But wasn't that like that one season and that was it? I feel like that was that one season and that was it. Wasn't it the same season when she brought dude's ex-wife on the show?
Yes.
Yeah, it might have been.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that okay.
but
And so it was that one season, but like still, like I feel like what I'm saying is, Aaron, is what I'm saying is just like when we talk about Beverly Hills, they're all rich. We don't have to say, well, this one and this one. No, they're all rich. They all have money. Where you have a group of 5 to 6 girls, and maybe one or two of them have a decent bag. It's not the same. The optics aren't the same. And so and that's what I'm saying, like, honestly, in my opinion, I feel like the OC, like, even God, what's the pretentious one whose husband is the I'm bad with names. The
Heather.
Heather. Thank you. You already knew I was talking about. Even she's starting to not really want to be like, from my understanding, it seems like she's trying to use her connections to get onto Beverly Hills. They moved out to Beverly Hills and everything. Like, it just seems like
Wait, and on that point, I love how Andy asked her on Watch What Happens Live, "Are you trying to get on Beverly Hills?" And she
mm,
looked at him confused for a minute, and then she said, "I think that's a conversation I'd have to have with you."
mm.
Like, like the hell, like, sweetie, did you forget that you're a part of that decision making process? So, like, and I asked you, are you asking? She's like, we're
I don't know why
violating a
she was looking.
contract.
I think she was just shocked that he called her out on TV, because it's obvious what it is that she's trying to do. I just don't think she wants, she's, anyway, I just feel like, like OC has money, and then,
Wait,
Beverly Hills.
I need to. I know there are half of those women are faking the funk. OC has a lot of imposters, just like Atlanta. Absolutely. No, Emily and Shane were living off his parents, and they didn't necessarily have a ton of money. Gina had nothing but a cheating husband. Okay. Shannon is still in financial struggles. David did have money, but I think, being in construction stuff. So I need to make it clear, especially because I live just up the road from these ladies. There is a lot. There were plenty of half those heifers didn't have money and are
And
just
doesn't
barely
that and
having
like and I love how you made the connection, because that's what I was just about to say. OC, they have money, but
some.
Beverly Hills, wait, let me finish. But Beverly Hills has money, and to me, OC is parallel to Atlanta. And you just said it.
It
Some of
is.
them got
It
it,
is.
some of them don't. They pump it, faking it. Some of that they may have had it at a moment and didn't have it, trying to rebuild. Like that's and so that's us. And so like the threshold being, like the can you imagine the threshold being OC? Even the Salt Lake City, from my understanding, it seems that most of the women, Salt Lake City, at least now, Whitney and her husband was looking shaky at one moment. Even they seem to have more money than as a whole than OC.
I think the Salt Lake ladies are shaky too. I mean, look at Jen Shaw; she went to jail.
Oh
I
yeah.
think Beverly Hills is a niche because it's Beverly Hills.
Mm,
Number one, because it's in the entertainment in Hollywood where you have a certain level of wealth. But I'll say this: I do
mm-hmm,
agree. In general, Beverly Hills has more money, but Lisa Rinna's finances were not always cute. Dorit and PK's already filed professional bankruptcy more than once, and
mm-hmm.
they've been so there's a lot of fronting going on, and I will Beverly Hills, yes, there is more like accumulated wealth between the women, but there's plenty of working class Beverly Hills ladies in the mix as well. There's a lot of smoke and mirrors.
I can see that.
That's true.
That's true. That's true. That's true.
Because like even Garcelle, I think had to
Yeah,
like
she's
lower her
hustling.
standards to be on the show. You know what I mean? Because and don't get me wrong, Garcelle brings a pedigree to the cast that you can't pay for. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Being an actress that has the career trajectory that she has, and that's I think one of the appeals that Beverly Hills has, where Eileen Davidson. I'm not saying
Mm-hmm.
poor, but definitely not, super. And hey, listen, Erica Jane doesn't have shit anymore.
Right.
Okay.
And Eileen Davidson was like, that's a perfect example of in a successful, you know, actor, ex
Mm-hmm.
tennis star couple
Yep.
that, pooled their money, got a nice house, it's appreciated in value. They couldn't buy that Joker today,
Mm-mm.
but like I feel like, mortgage probably paid off. She came on the show, to get two checks at once because she was still
Yeah.
on All My Children. Like she was still an
Yes, she
actual
was.
actress.
She
Mm-hmm.
was.
So it was like, not rich, but definitely not broke.
No, and the money from being on Housewives helped fund the movie that her husband shot that she starred in. That's what she left the show to go do. And look at Kim. Talk about rich relations, poor relations. Kim Richards. She didn't have any money when she came on the show. Kyle did,
Yeah.
and Kathy did. So,
But that's because she was a raging addict. I feel like if her life had turned out down a different path, she probably would be on the same, within the same area as her sisters. A
Well,
good,
no, because unless she had married well,
and
Kathy
so
because
landed a big fish, and
that's
then
what
Mauricio capitalized off of that.
But what I'm saying is, this is what I'm saying. If I have two sisters, one is married to a billionaire, and then the other one, they still was operating within the circles of people with money, right? I'm saying, but and she's married to Mauricio. Between Kyle and Mauricio's contacts, and between Kathy and her husband's contacts, if I'm not a drug addict, that's what I'm saying. If she had went down a different path, no drugs, no alcohol, and she had a level head on her shoulders. By proxy, I feel like whether they set her up with a rich husband or set her up with she decided to have her own business or something, I feel like they would have all made sure that each other was good. Because Mauricio went into business with Kathy's husband. I'm sure a large part of it was off the strength of being married to his sister-in-law, and so that's what I'm saying. But she didn't get those things because she was an alcoholic and a drug addict.
I I'm
I
gonna
could
push
get
back a
that.
little bit. It's a little more complicated than that. If you look at their history, to be fair, Kim was the
Mm-hmm.
most successful as a child actress. Their
Mm-hmm.
mom pushed them into the entertainment industry. It's a
Mm-hmm.
miracle that they all survived it. Kim, had several relationships that didn't work out, and then Kyle had, and you're right, Mauricio did get a job with Rick Hilton, but then also left, and there was a divide for 10 years. So I have a lot of empathy for Kim. I agree with you that if she hadn't had the path she did, she wouldn't be necessarily poor. But I also think that, like, if you look at it in totality of the life that they're all leading, I feel really bad for Kim because Kim got God knows what happened to her when she was on set as a child. All of that
I wasn't
stuff.
really trying to go into that that deep
Well,
into things, but yeah, like that. Yes,
yes, but you were saying because she's an alcoholic and an addict. So I just felt the need, especially when we're looking at the way that we watch these reality stars struggle with substance abuse and stuff like that. We always have to look at like how kind of complicated things are. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Because
no, totally.
and I feel bad too because on another level, we're watching this happen.
Mhm.
How many of these ladies have we watched develop a problem because of the duress that they go through or the things they go through on the show, or simply that they age out of being able to handle their liquor anymore
I mean,
at
look
the
at
same
Dorinda.
way? Hello, look at Luann, look at Sonia, look at Ramona, look at Shannon, look at Tamra, look at Emily, who gets really hokey.
Tamra, oh my God.
Hello, yeah.
Tamra, Tamra and her husband, like, I don't feel bad for Eddie. I don't feel bad for Tamra. I don't feel bad that that girl's boyfriend said what he said.
Yeah.
I believe everything that he said. All he said is, when I first heard of Tamra and Eddie, it wasn't all good. He never said that he was
Oh
at the
no, there's a
gym and his
lot of
coworkers,
dirt. There's a
and
lot of dirt on
and so
Eddie and Tamara.
well, I would love to hear it because I don't know anything. But what I'm saying is, it's like just watching the show, for you to be the type of person to want to marry Tamra, that's the person that you chose, already tells me that there's something that's there. And so, but and like when she starts screaming, it's the truth. It's the well, what he said was the truth too. Don't be worrying about me. You already got a Ryan that you need to worry about. Did he not do what he did? Was that not the truth? Hasn't he
Mm.
been a problem for years? He's just starting to kind of seemingly get his life on track. Maybe he got a baby mama out here.
I don't know if he has his life on track at all. You're right about that one, yes.
And so don't you got some kids that you need to be trying to get back in contact with? Now, if you'd have said
Nope.
that, but what? I'm just speaking the
It's
truth.
the truth. It is.
So Tamara, it's okay when Tamara says something or berates or like because I don't want to come off like an a-hole because I see what you like. I hear what you're saying because like it's the same thing with Shannon. I'm sorry, I love Shannon. There's like I don't know.
Sharon,
I wonder like what is the story on her mom? Is her mom alive?
Sharon's mom.
Yeah, Shannon's because I only see her dad. I only hear her talk about her dad. I've never seen anything about her mom. And the reason why I'm curious about that, about her relationship with her mom, is because the way that she like her relationships, right? I look at the relationships that she has with women and I look at the relationships that she has with the men in her lives. And a lot of them seem very transactional, and it doesn't if I do this or say this and appease you, then you'll give me the love or the support or whatever it is, whatever like the validation and things like that that she's looking for, because there'll be no way in heck after sitting down with Tamara having a dinner that she had where she goes, now she didn't know that Tamara said that when she went into the back of the bathroom. She asked her, they said she's in the bathroom, she goes, well, she's getting a drink. Like, just now that lack of empathy. I'm glad that Gina and them finally spoke up and said something to Tamara about it because it was just too much. But there would be no way in heck that I would sit after collecting myself, that I would sit back down and then give her a hug and feel good about it because she decided to invite me somewhere
Mm.
after berating me about my drinking problem. And like, because there's a lot of different ways to make hold somebody accountable about their drinking. And so I just wonder like what's going on there, because like like there's something there, like there's something there, and she's just never been able to get out of it. And the only parent that I ever see her dealing with is her dad. And mind you, when she got married to her husband, she wasn't like these Mormon girls where they were like 19, 20, 21, married and have already have two and a half kids. Like, she was like I think she said she was like 37 when she got married. I think she went to law school. That
Sharon
also was very
did.
interesting. I don't know if she graduated, but I know she said that she was in law school, which I thought was interesting because if you were able to study for the LSAT and get accepted into law school, but you couldn't figure out how to pay your water bill,
Oh, she's the water bill heifer.
She's the water bill heifer because her husband did everything. But my thing is, so I guess her dad did everything for her until she got married. I don't know, but still, even within that, the way that she shows up in these toxic relationships, it's like the things that she does are transactional. If I do this, you'll love. They even called her out. Why was you paying for everything? Was it because you was buying his love? And while she was saying no, that wasn't her intention. That might have been something that she was doing that she didn't even realize. Because why are you spending bags on this dude? Why are you dropping $10,000 to go up the street to stay at a hotel for his daughter, for your boyfriend's daughter's birthday?
Yeah, he stayed around for the money.
And then but
I
every time she
yeah.
comes on the show, she's talking about how she's a single parent with 3 kids and she got to pay for college, but you're paying for $10,000 birthday hotel weekend trips.
Well, I mean, to answer your question, I don't remember if Shannon's mother has passed away or not, but Shannon's father has been a flirt and like a womanizer. That's the joke about him from the jump. So there's a lot to infer there with her background. But
Mm.
David Bedore, her first husband, is bona fide nuts. He and the wife he has now are in the press again. I think this is like the fourth time she's filed for divorce, and she's filing a restraining order against him, and he's
Really?
filing what? Oh yeah, he's psycho.
I don't
David
keep up
Bedore,
with Pink Toe News. I got to keep up with Pink Toe
yeah,
News.
I'm telling you, no, this mother, he's cuckoo nuts and totally
Real?
involved. Yes, and I think that he was very emotionally, verbally, and maybe
Abusive?
even physically abusive to Shannon. I
Okay.
think that. I think Shannon did not. I mean, he cheated on her on the show, and they like went to therapy together. It was the most cringe shit you've ever seen in your life. If you
Yes.
want to go back, remember that? Like talking
I didn't
over her
realize
when
that
she
he
was.
was doing it actively on the show. I thought it was something that
Oh
happened like
yeah.
before the show, and she was
Uh-uh.
just like, mm,
Yeah, so she never got any therapy or healing from what really looks kind of like some
an
narcissistic
abusive
abuse.
relationship.
And
Yeah.
then she got love bombed by John Jansen, who I think
Mm-hmm.
really liked being in the spotlight, getting all the attention, getting the all the celebrity worship that one gets when you're with a housewife. And he's the knight in shining armor, and everybody likes him, and he's a good guy. And oh my God, Shannon, we're so happy that you're with a good guy after crazy David Bedore, who hated you, and we all had to watch it. You know what I mean? And then let's be real, because Shannon just got outed by Joel Kim Booster. I think Shannon's got some deep issues that she has not dealt with. I think she clearly
Who's
was,
Joel
you
Kim
know,
Booster? Who's that?
He's
he
a
go ahead.
player on Saturday Night Live, and he was in that gay movie Fire Island.
Okay.
Um,
And what did
Real
he out on
talented
her?
Asian American comic, and he read Shannon for filth because he's the host of that dating show she's on, and he
In
said that he
Mexico
was.
with Luann and Ashley and the single Giselle.
And I mean, when you out asshole Luann, that's some doing.
Wait,
So
so what did he say?
he basically called her a drunk. You're not famous. You don't have the right to treat fellow, like, members of production like they're subhuman. He basically said she like was terrible to work with, not polite to staff, very difficult. He said that he told her to her face, "You are not a star. You are just some like woman that's in shitty
Sad drunk.
relationships that got a date, that got a DUI." I mean, he told her what.
Damn.
Yeah, so two things can be true, right? Two things can be true. So obviously she's not necessarily like the greatest human, but I also think that
Mm,
John Jansen, birds of a feather, you know. So
mm,
I think
mm.
I don't know. Shannon needs to get her head out of her butt about how she treats people, because I've heard some other like rumors like through the grapevine that she's just not like polite at like to waiters or
Oh.
staff or whatever. So I'm kind of like, Shannon, I want
Like
to
giving a
root for you.
give what's that, what was the crazy remote, giving like a Ramona tea.
Yes, yeah, kind of like unlikable
Gotcha.
Ramona tease. And it's like, I want to root for you, Shannon, but not if you're a dick. Like, I just can't, you know? So,
Yeah, no.
I'm on the fence with that one. I'd like to see more
Mm.
personal growth, to be honest. But I think that she basically fell into another really unhealthy relationship without doing any therapy and whatnot, and got herself into into a crisis situation where she really had to address herself. Um, I don't know. The jury's still out on what exactly she's going to do with that. But, we've watched more than one housewives have a crisis situation. Look at Luann wiggling out of handcuffs for, busting into somebody else's hotel room. Look at Sonia hitting the glass after, on that table, and Luann dragging her to AA. Ramona shitting herself at various times. I mean, we've seen.
Oh God.
I
So
think for me the worst one was when oh my god, what's her name? Clint Dorinda.
Nene.
Linda.
Oh,
No, Dorinda.
Clip,
When
you're
Dorinda
right.
fell, remember when she fell face first and busted her face and like the whole like it was just everything was black and blue. I think she had a black eye. I think she like hit it on the corner or something. Remember that? They were somewhere on vacation and she was,
I
but
don't
I
actually.
don't think she was just drinking. I think she was on the dolls too.
Yeah,
I I
we've
do.
heard rumors.
John
They brought it
Manassian.
up
I
at a
think.
reunion once, and Bethany said, "We don't want to do that. We don't want to do
Yeah.
that."
Yeah. No, I think. Well, because I think John Manassian was making it clear that he and Dorinda like to do those things and then get down in the bedroom. Remember when that rumor came out? So you know, I just I think that and listen, we've got Karen's DUI coming up. I was saying
Oh.
I'm very curious to see how that's handled now based on the way that, Shannon's had her run with hers.
Well, we're not going to have Tamara there being as evil as she is.
And will
Mhm.
will we will Giselle make a shirt?
I don't think so. I have a
I
feeling
think
that
Giselle.
Giselle. I have a feeling
No.
that Giselle will say things, but she's going to rein it in because if she doesn't, um,
Yeah.
then there's going to be no excuse. If she's as nasty as she is to everybody else as she was, especially when, like, I feel like Candace was a buffer, and so she would like, so some of that would heat would be taken off of her. But now there's no excuse,
Plus she doesn't have Robin. It's like she's
right?
on an island. She's gonna make friends this season.
So
So
I'm sure
yeah.
she'll make little comments and ask questions, but she ain't gonna go in or get her lackey to make a T-shirt and show up with a T-shirt, um, and everything like that. Uh, I think she's gonna be trying to, be worried about the optics and over here trying to be friends with
Wendy.
Wendy, which just makes me upset.
Because it's so see-through. But
It
Wendy
How
will
is.
go along with it because Wendy ain't got plot line to first, to second, to third, to fourth.
Well, I think Wendy's trying to flex this season because, like I said earlier when we talked, she's trying to bring some of the big girls onto the show to show that while they over
She's
here on TV acting a fool, she's really on the ground doing stuff. I mean, she was a professor at John Hopkins. She's a news commentator. I think she's really trying to show, you know, that I do this, and I think especially with the rise of TikTok and like how you can be like a political um like you can be an influencer and like have like they're flying influencers out and have like a whole like stage for them and for certain big influencers to be able to present and talk about the political side of that. I think she's trying to like kind of get into that niche. I can definitely see that happening because someone like I don't know if you guys know who Clark is. She's just very dynamic young black lady on TikTok, and she just kind of talks about any and everything from dating, like older pink toes with a lot of money. She had the internet on a uproar because I guess one of the men was asking if she would ever date down, and she was basically like, no. She's like, after all the hard work that I did, why would I ever not expect somebody to be able to meet me on my same level? And child, the whole internet went up in an uproar. She's a mil, she, but I don't know, man. Salt Lake City seems to be right now the only one given. I don't really have any faith in Potomac, and I don't have any faith in Atlanta either. I wonder if they're even going to show the whole Kenya thing, or they just totally exited it out.
That'll be interesting to see how they handle it. What Bravo wants to deal with. Because I feel like if they cut her off the show, they may not show it. They may be like, you know what, we don't. I could see Bravo not showing it because they're like, We don't want to sex shame women.
Well,
Mm.
yeah, I was gonna say, I think just by proxy of like, or not by proxy, by exactly what the issue was, they can't show it. Just like they're not doing Girls Trip because of the Caroline Manzo incident. If they show it, then they're gonna be bringing to light the revenge P element.
Yeah.
Right. I was hoping that they were gonna show the season and just exit that out unless it was something that just overtook the whole season. Because I don't know if it happened in the beginning, middle, or end.
It was the third week of filming, I believe.
And how many weeks do they film?
I don't know, but it was like early enough that it was like I think they kind of decided that's part why they didn't say salvage the situation is
Mm,
because it was early enough in filming that they could just cut her
mm.
loose.
Cause I'm like, they be cutting stuff out all the time, and there be stuff that we find out on the back end, and it's just like, well, why did they put that in there? And it's not as
Yeah.
salacious as like I'm not saying that they should be putting that particular thing in there, but
No, I mean, well, we all know about it. We know what
right,
happened. It's not like you're keeping it a secret, so you could legitimately address it and you could take an opportunity to say, like, stunts
we
like
don't.
this or how you get, but then they're breaking the fourth wall. You know what I mean? Like getting fired, you're not a voluntary part of a voluntary friend group. But that's kind of goes back to the original thing that we were talking about with this kind of boring season period is that the franchise is struggling with evolving the format, right? Like the
Yeah.
Housewives format, because to your point, Asia, there some of these ladies are finally achieving a legitimate like revenue source and wealth and things like that, right? But that's
Mhm.
because they've become
Mhm.
reality personalities, right?
Mhm.
And we're
Mhm.
struggling with acknowledging, like, the way we're chewing out Jen for not having any money or not having a job. And it's like, bitch, this is her job. Can we stop? Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's hard
Yeah.
to
Yeah. Yeah.
swallow some of this stuff. So,
I
yeah,
and I feel like they should break the fourth wall. I mean, because that, like, when you say the whole evolving thing, like when
yeah,
Giselle came to Candace with the BS, and she
right.
went and we got to see her going off on the producer and was like, and you better leave that in. Like that added to the allure. Like, ooh, I'm not saying like do it all the time, but why
Right.
not? Because it's because at one point it was a formula where it seemed like it's clear that if you don't get in where you fit in, then you're off the show. So we already understand that. So, but so if we understand that you don't get in where you fit in, like I like the new girl on Salt Lake City because she's not just sitting back in the cut and watching everybody argue. She's giving her opinion on things, and I
Oh,
appreciate
Bronwyn?
that.
Bronwyn
Yeah,
or what's her face? What's the other one?
Bronwyn,
What's the other one?
Bronwyn,
Right, I remember. Yeah, I'm just trying to remember the other one's name. I
Brittany.
don't.
It's
Thank
Brittany,
you. Okay.
but I keep wanting to say Pertani every time I see it across the screen. But like, I don't think there's anything wrong if you do it like in a good way of breaking the fourth wall. I feel like on times like that, like if Bravo is trying to revamp their image about what they're willing to allow and not allow on their show, and these different firings and who they pick and choose to fire and put these things on, if you want to set a precedent, I don't think there's anything wrong with saying like, not showing the scene or not showing the incident, but like remember the whole Kathy thing? Remember the whole Kathy thing where she apparently, allegedly went on a racist type drunken tirade in the
Yes.
fallout and all the girls just reacting to it after? Like, I just think, like now I could be wrong and I could be wrong for this, but I also feel like if they would have made an like goals daily, if they would have did like how they always do the night before or whatever, or when cameras went down or whatever, and saw the backlash of how the ladies felt about this woman doing this, and now you've disrupted the dynamic of the show and her being fired and let go. And if Manzo wanted to, make a statement or say something, or do a green screen on it, she could. But if she opted out, they could also say that as well, and be like, when you do. And so it also shows that when you do these type of things and you show up in this, show up and you on these shows and you act a certain way and you don't know how to hold your liquor and in your pills and stuff, there's going to be consequences to your actions. I don't think there's anything wrong with showing that.
But I guess, for law, for legal purposes, they didn't want to jump off it. But it's like you already set up the perfect environment for all these situations to happen.
That's true.
So give the people what they want.
What
Because
they've been.
because they, like I said, oh, it was a racist tirade, and then didn't she even say the F word or something? Didn't apparently, allegedly, she might have said
Allegedly.
something. She made said the F word. I'm talking about Kathy, and so I'm like, those are terrible. Those are awful slurs. Those are awful slurs, and so quite honestly, she should have been fired. And so, I just think that, like I said, they all like to pick and choose. They all like to pick and choose. And so, I'm like, if you're gonna do it to your benefit, then do it to your benefit, and make an example out of people.
Exactly. And give us the drama while you do.
Right? Because we all love to see a good tar and feathering every now and then.
Well, on that note, I want to thank y'all for joining me and let everybody know where they can find you.
You guys can catch me on Instagram at psychic_ELB and as well on Threads. Hit me up in the DMs if you'd like to get a psychic reading. We can get started already because 2025 is just around the corner. You can also catch me on Ray Ray All Day's channel. We are currently reviewing the newest season of Selling Sunset, and we'll be doing Southern Charm when it comes on.
And you can catch me on here whenever I am, because I am not a social media person, but I like to come up here and shoot the craps when I can.
All righty. Well, that was our show, and I will see y'all soon for some.
Bye.
Bye, y'all.